Alright, Dokkanners, it's hero time for one last time. The hero banner is expected to drop sometime this week. It is the last time a hero banner is dropping for Dokkan. Alright, for the final heroes drop, we have 5 units. The units are as followed. We have Dark King Demigra, Power of Time Unleashed, Warrior in Black, Super Saiyan, Dark Dragon Ball Boost, Fu, Youth, Dogi Dogi Fully Absorbed, Eos, and Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Goku, Universe Tree Power. Let's start with Dark King Demigra. Dark King Demigra is an extreme tech type. He leads Demonic Power, Ki +3, HP Attack and Defense plus 130%. Since this is a Dokkan for Dummies and there are 5 units, the formatting is going to be a little different. I'm going to try to keep things concise. So from his passive, Demigra gets the following. For stats, he gets Ki +2, Attack and Defense plus 240%. He gets an additional Attack and Defense plus 120 when performing a super, and he gets an additional attack plus 40% up to 240% with each attack received. He also gets an additional Attack and Defense plus 120 in slot 1. Also included in Demigra's passive is some crit chance. He comes with 50% chance to crit. Defensively speaking, he gets some damage reduction in his passive. He comes with a base 40% damage reduction. He gets an additional 20% damage reduction with a demonic power or crossover ally in the turn. He gets an additional 20% damage reduction before attacking when all allies in the turn are extreme classed. Assuming all restrictions are met, Demigra will have 80% damage reduction. Some other parts of his passive include a support where extreme class allies get attack plus 60% and crit chance plus 24% if Demigra is in slot 2 or 3. Demigra's super attack, Chaotic Gigantus, gives 50% attack for 1 turn and causes supreme damage to the enemy. It also gives extreme allies 30% defense for 1 turn, excluding Demigra. Let's take a quick look at his super attack. With that out of the way, let's take a look at his categories and his link skills. For categories, Demigra has the following. He is on Demonic Power, Resurrected Warriors, Realm of Gods, Time Travelers, Dragon Ball Heroes, Crossover, and Story Figures. For his link skill set, he has Brainiacs, which gives attack and defense plus 15%, Big Bad Bosses, which gives attack and defense plus 25%, Revival, which gives Ki +2, and attack and defense plus 5%, and it also recovers 5% HP if HP drops below 50%. Master and Magic, which gives attack plus 15% and all enemies minus 15% defense. Godly Power, which gives attack plus 15% and 5% chance to crit. Fear and Faith, which gives Ki +2 and all enemies minus 10% defense. And Fierce Battle, which is attack plus 20%. Keep in mind that all links shown in the video will be at link level 10. Now, since Dragon Ball Heroes characters are for the most part niche and heavily restricted, there will be no best case scenario slide. Honestly, I think most of these units are just for fun and they're really just cool fan service characters. Run them however you want. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at our next character, the Warrior in Black. The Warrior in Black is a super physical type. He leads Super Saiyans, Ki +3, HP Attack and Defense plus 130%. In his passive, his stats get the following. He gets Ki +2 and attack and defense plus 150%, attack and defense plus 100% when attacking, attack plus 150% if enemy HP is 70% or less, attack plus 150% if enemy HP is 70% or less, an additional attack plus 150% if enemy HP is 40% or less, and an additional attack plus 50% if the enemy has any negative status effects such as attack down, defense down, sealing, or stunning. Also included in this passive is crit. He has a base 30% chance to crit. He gets an additional 30% chance to crit if the enemy's HP is 70% or less. He gets another additional 30% chance to crit if the enemy's HP is 40% or less, all for a grand total of 90% chance to crit, assuming your enemy is below 40% HP. Combine that with his guaranteed 5% hidden potential crit, and he has 100% chance to crit, given that all restrictions are met. Now, defensively, he has some damage reduction in his passive. He has a base 40% damage reduction. He gets an additional 15% damage reduction before attacking if enemy HP is 70% or less. He gets another 15% damage reduction before attacking if the enemy's HP is 40% or less, totaling to a 7% damage reduction if the enemy's HP is 40% or less. Now, for the rest of his passive, it includes attack and defense plus 100% and an additional super after delivering a final blow. Essentially speaking, the closer to death your opponent is, the better off you are putting the Warrior in Black in slot 1. Now, for super attack, finish impact, it gives 50% attack and defense for 1 turn and causes supreme damage to the enemy. It also lowers the enemy's attack and defense by 30%. Now let's take a look at the Warrior in Black's super attack animation. Now the Warrior in Black's categories include the following: Super Saiyans, Pure Saiyans, Dragon Ball Seekers, Time Travelers, Goku's Family, Dragon Ball Heroes, Crossover, and Bond of Parent and Child. The Warrior in Black's Link set includes Saiyan Warrior Race, which gives attack plus 10%, Super Saiyan, which gives attack plus 15%, Experienced Fighters, which gives attack plus 15%, the Saiyan Lineage, which gives Ki plus 2 and attack and defense plus 5%, Saiyan Pride, which gives attack plus 20%, Prepare for Battle, which gives Ki plus 2 and attack and defense plus 5%, and Fierce Battle, which gives attack plus 20%. I'd suggest running the Warrior in Black in sort of a slot 2, slot 3 damage dealer and have him land a finishing blow once the opponent is at low health. Now our next character is going to be Eos. Eos is a extreme int type. She leads Realm of Gods, Ki plus 3, HP, attack, and defense plus 130%. Her passive gives the following. For stats, it's attack and defense plus 120%, defense plus 120% when receiving an attack, and additional defense plus 120% with a crossover category ally on rotation when receiving an attack, and attack plus 60% up to 240% with each evasion. Eos' passive also provides support. She gives all allies Ki plus 2 and attack and defense plus 40%. And if the ally is on the crossover category, they will get an additional Ki plus 1 and attack and defense plus 24%. For defense, Eos' passive is built on dodge. She has a base 50% chance to dodge, and she will get an additional 10% chance to dodge with each evasion that occurs. Keep in mind that this resets every turn. Now for the rest of Eos' passive, she debuffs all enemies attack and defense by 24%, and she has a 30% chance to stun all enemies at the start of the turn. She also recovers 24 HP in turns in which she receives an attack. Eos' super attack, Time Destruction, gives attack and defense 30% for one turn and causes supreme damage to the enemy. She also seals the enemy's super. Let's take a quick look at her super attack animation. Eos' categories are as followed: Realm of Gods, Atara, Time Travelers, Dragon Ball Heroes, Crossover, and Story Figures. Her Link set includes Telekinesis, which debuffs enemies minus 20% defense, More Than Meets the Eye, which gives attack and defense plus 10%, Solid Support, which gives attack plus 15% and all enemies minus 20% defense, Cold Judgment, which gives defense plus 25%, Master of Magic, which gives attack plus 15% and all enemies minus 10% defense, Godly Power, which gives attack plus 15% and a crit chance plus 5%, and Fierce Battle, which gives attack plus 20%. Eos is probably going to be your slot 3 support with the Dragon Ball Heroes team. With Eos out of the way, let's take a look at our next unit. It's Fu. Now Fu is an extreme AGL type. He leads Time Travelers, Ki plus 3, HP, attack, and defense plus 130%. His passive gives the following. For stats, Fu gets Ki plus 2, attack and defense plus 150%, attack and defense plus 50% per crossover or Time Traveler's ally in the turn, and attack and defense plus 100 when performing a super. For defense, Fu gets damage reduction. Fu comes with 20% when there's an extreme class ally or super class enemy, an additional 20% up to 40% with each super performed by the character. Keep in mind this resets every turn. Fu also comes with additionals built in his kit. He comes with an additional that has a 50% chance to be super, and another additional with a 70% chance to be super if there's an extreme ally or super enemy. Fu also comes with some crit. He has plus 20% up to 40% with each super performed by the character. Keep in mind, this also resets every turn. Now for the rest of Fu's passive, he has a high chance to change all orbs to AGL and tech starting from the 5th turn of battle. It's currently unknown how the field will change with 2 different key types. Fu's super attack, Remote Series Bomb, gives a 50% attack stack and 50% defense for one turn and causes supreme damage to the enemy. It also has a 50% chance to stun. Let's take a look at Birdman super attack. Now for Fu's categories, they include Time Travelers, Realm of Gods, Transformation Boost, Youth, Dragon Ball Heroes, Battle of Wits, Power Absorption, Crossover, Accelerate Battle, and Demonic Power. Fu's Link set includes Demonic Power, which is attack plus 20% and defense plus 10%, Brainiacs, which is attack and defense plus 15%, Cold Judgment, which is defense plus 25%, Big Bad Bosses, which is attack and defense plus 25%, Godly Power, which is attack plus 15% and crit chance plus 5%, Fear and Faith, which is Ki plus 2 and all enemies minus 10% defense, and Fierce Battle, which is attack plus 20%. Fu is basically RNGesus, as he has to rely on getting super attacks to both build his crit and build his damage reduction. He's definitely your slot 2 damage dealer, and you just gotta hope that you get as many super attacks as possible each turn. That was Fu. Don't ask me to say his full name. Now for our final character, it's Mr. Big Daddy himself. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, Universe Tree Power. Now for what is potentially the strongest Goku in all of Dragon Ball, he is a Super STR type. He leads Dragon Ball Heroes, Kamehameha, and Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Ki plus 3, HP attack and defense plus 170%. He also gives an additional 30% to HP attack and defense if the characters also belong to crossover. Goku comes with his own intro. This entrance animation activates on its own upon entry. It gives defense plus 200% for 4 turns, and it also gives Goku a guaranteed additional super for 4 turns. For his passive, Goku gets the following. For stats, Goku gets Ki plus 2, attack and defense plus 150%, an additional attack plus 150% when attacking, defense plus 40%, up to 200% with each attack performed, an additional attack plus 50% for rest of battle with 3 key spears attained, an additional attack plus 100% for rest of battle with 5 key spears attained, another additional attack plus 150% for rest of battle with 7 key spears attained. Defensively in this kit, Goku gets damage reduction. Goku gets plus 40% damage reduction when guard is activated. He comes with a 70% chance of guarding with 3 or more key spears obtained. He gets a guaranteed guard with 5 or more key spears obtained. Goku also has additionals built into his kit. He has one additional with a 70% chance to be a super with 3 or more crossover characters on the team, or 1 ally with the name Zeno on the team. For the rest of Goku's passive, he changes random orb types excluding SCR to SCR with 3 or more crossover allies or 1 Zeno named ally on the team. Goku's passive was so big that his super attack gets his own slide. Goku's super attack, Extreme Kamehameha, gives attack and defense plus 30% for 1 turn and causes immense damage to the enemy. It also gives Goku a 30% chance to crit for 1 turn. Goku also comes with his own active skill. The active skill, Unyielding Fused Kamehameha, can be used with an ally with Zeno in their name on rotation or on turn 5. This active skill gives plus 100% attack temporarily and causes ultimate damage to the enemy. It also gives Goku an additional defense plus 30% for the turn and guarantees all attacks in the turn are crits for Goku. Let's take a look at Goku's animations, including his entrance, his super attack, and his active skill.
オラがぶっ飛ばしてやる。今のオラならそれができそうだ。
Now Goku comes with the most categories in this batch of hero characters. His categories include Dragon Ball Heroes, Kamehameha, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Crossover, Realm of Gods, Pure Saiyans, Time Travelers, Goku's Family, Hero School, Bond of Friendship, Accelerate Battle, Bond of Parent and Child, and Earthbred Fighters. Goku's Link set includes Super Saiyan, which is attack plus 15%, Kamehameha, which is attack plus 10% when performing a super, Shocking Speed, which is Ki plus 2 and defense plus 5%, Warrior Gods, which has attack plus 10% and another 5% if performing a super, Godly Power, which has attack plus 15% and a crit chance of plus 5%, Prepare for Battle, which is Ki plus 2 and attack and defense plus 5%, and Fierce Battle, which is attack plus 20%. With all that being said, let's take one last look at all the new hero units dropping in this banner. Overall, it's a good variety of characters. Unfortunately, some of the fan favorites didn't make it into this final batch, like Blue Evolution Gogeta or Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker Gogeta. Let's be real, they're probably saving all the fusions for 10th anniversary. Of course, the question on everyone's mind: should you summon? Now this one's a little particular. My answer is sure. To be fair, this is officially the last time new Dragon Ball Hero characters will drop, and this might be the last banner we ever see for it. Honestly, if you're a really big Dragon Ball Heroes fan, you think these characters are really cool, you like these new units, or maybe some of the older units that you don't have, like you're a newer player and you haven't filled your account with some of the hero units, I say summon. We don't know if or when these units will return. They could return next year in the same time slot with Dragon Ball Diver characters instead, or they could not return at all. So for me, it's really up to the player if they really like the new units or they really want other hero characters. So it's gotta be a summon. Don't go crazy. Keep in mind 10th anniversary is 2 months away. But if you do summon, as a reminder, all characters are confirmed to get an EZA and most likely a super EZA later down the line. It's good to see that the new units will eventually get EZAs as well as some of the older units, because hero units tend to always get crept during anniversaries. These are things just to keep in mind for when you summon or how deep you should summon. But as always, thanks for watching. Which new unit was your favorite? For me personally, it's either Goku or Demigra. Are you going to summon on the Heroes banner? Let me know in the comments below. I hope to see all you lovely Dokkanners in the next video. Bye bye for now.